Hello friends! Today we got a build guide showcase in which I'll show a build that a friend of mine made. His name is Snowyz. He made a falconer build, he made a marksman build. He called blast rain detonating arrow marksman. It's an explosive trap build and he reached 2000 corruption with this build. So let's check out his video in which he's farming. Well, it's not this one. Okay, it's this one. So this video is against a 2k corruption shade, and this one's versus aberroth. So let's check out aberroth first.
So you finally returned to me, and with a guest. But first, prove yourselves worthy.
Aberroth! Face us yourself!
Pretty decent damage, very good. Very fast takedown on the Harbinger.
Sister, for a moment.
Traveler, don't worry about me!
Such wasted potential. Orbis would have welcomed you.
First barrier. This is a great damage build. Only a few builds can do this much damage.
Terra turtle back on us. Embrace oblivion.
There are builds that can insta-kill aberroth, but I'm pretty sure the devs are gonna nerf it. Now, this one seems balanced. He works very hard to get on this ton of damage.
Death is our legacy.
And it's dealing damage quite fast.
The world called to Orbis. This is his answer.
Almost there, buddy. Done. So in under 2 minutes, he killed aberroth. That's great. That's awesome. Now for the 2k shade battle. You can see on the corner here the modifiers. This shade is definitely tankier than aberroth. Definitely. Is it down? Almost. He uses potions for mana, so he really needs to get them. Hey, just a tip. When this happens, this bug that you can't see the items, press Alt plus Z. That'll solve your problem. If you ever got this problem, this will solve your problem. Okay, it's just a command for the items not to show. So, you guys can see that this is what's his dream build and what's his... Here's his planner. Let's analyze his planner now. So this is his build. You can see that it's 2k corruption, so there's nothing cheap here. And it's full of legendaries. Sorry. Except for the gloves. Now, let's start talking about items. As a bow, he uses Rain of Winter. It's a bow that procs these icicles. And he's got a lot of crit multiplier and crit multiplier with bow attack crit chance with bow attack speed. This raises his crit chance very high. Does he have anything else for crit? Only multiplier. How much is his crit chance offense? He's got 94% crit chance. That's high. So acid traps and acid flask, which he's also using. Acid flask has 83 because it's throwing, but explosive trap has 94. That's awesome with 416% multiplier. That's great. And of course, the cold bow damage and spell damage and penetration and all that stuff. Troaka Steve, he does not use much the frostbite. He has it, but I think his thing here is just to increase the cold damage. And pretty much it. Then he's got Dex and Armor Shred. I talked to him about this Armor Shred. On the video, you'll see that he's got like 700 Armor Shreds on aberroth. You don't need that, 90 is okay. But when you're farming, it's good to have more, to stack that faster. So on normal enemies and on rare enemies, you're gonna stack fast and deal damage fast. So that's why it's useful to have a high Armor Shred. Then he's got a Kestrel, because for defensive, for survivability, he chose to go dodge. So his dodge rating is very, very high. When he gets his buffs like Dusk Shroud, he gets 80% dodge. The cap is 85. It's not worth to go 85, but his 80% is more than enough. You can see that his armor sucks, and he does not have much health, so it's pretty much based on dodge. So as marksman is ranged, with the correct gameplay style, you'll be fine. Peak of the mountain. To reach this really, really high crit base chance, with this crit chance plus peak of the mountain, the crit chance goes way high. Then he's got Dex, some resistances, and dodge. Pay attention, he chose a tier 7 dodge. I think this cold resist is just what slammed there. The Crystal gives more dodge. Then he went to dexterity, more 2 on detonating arrow, and dodge, and increased dodge. Then Hellas, what to say about this? This is an awesome amulet, giving a +2 to all skill, +1 to dexterity skills. So just on this, he's got a +3 on all of them. Jungle Queen Chaps, as I said, his mana he's recovering through the experimental, so very good to have here. The experimental mana and a lot of potions. This is 16 potions, so he'll never run out of mana, especially on bosses that don't drop that much. On mobs, the drop is greater. But he also has increased chance to find potions. Morning Frost to deal damage, guys. Morning Frost put a lot of dex. It's gonna deal hell a lot of damage. Tier 7 move speed, so because he gotta have that because he's based on dodge. He don't want enemies to hit him. And he said he changed this health for more dodge. But you can have the health here. I think it's useful. On his gloves, you can see that he's got tier 6 intelligence. That's to get the intelligence and the attunement from the bow equal. So the Snowyz sphere can give 100% chance to cast the water orb when you hit. So every 3 seconds you cast the water orb, and that's just extra damage for us and for the build. And on a build which is cold damage, it deals decent damage, cold damage, and the spell damage from Morning Frost. So it's a pretty, I can't see here how much damage it would give, but I'm pretty sure it's some nice extra damage. And as for Heirloom of the Last Nomad, you choose this when you want more health. So in here, you get a lot of health, some resistances, and he chose to get the minus throwing damage with minus costs of throwing skills, thinking about the Acid Flask. So the Acid Flask will cost 0 mana because he's got last 10 here. So that's pretty much nice. With some mana regen and some mana regen. Snowyz Sphere to deal more cold damage, deal the water orb, and in here he put a tier 7 dex, crits multiplier, and physical resistance. On idols, he chose Throne of Ambition, giving cold damage and armor, armor shred and damage with a bow, armor shred and damage with a bow, and a +1 to max explosive traps, and more armor shred, then dodge and bow damage. Here's some health and fire resistance. He chose 2 times health to try not to die on 1 hit at 2k corruption. I pretty much think he does on 2k corruption. If the enemies hit him, he will die. But with a high dodge and playing right, you can survive and farm a little bit. Maybe this is not, I think it's not easy to farm at 2k corruption, but it's viable. What's easy to farm at 2k corruption? Like, there are builds that you can farm on 2k corruption, but easy? I don't think so. On to the skills. First of all, you can see that he's got a decoy here. So it's a survivability skill, okay? It's not specialized. He just throw a decoy to distract the enemies and kill them. He goes detonating arrow, shift, explosive trap, smoke bomb, and acid flask. Detonating arrow. He went for crit. A high crit damage here. Crit chance and crit damage. Then he came this for the arming time. Enemy diminish enemy move speed, elemental resistance, and cold damage because he wants chill chance and freeze rate, and cold damage because he's using the cold ball. Lethal blast to deal more enemies with low health, and raising explosion damage. He also got some points here for so that the arrows explode on hit, and homing arrows, and no mana cost for the arrows. Diminishing the explosion chest, which will not work because of this. It'll explode anyway. And mana gained on hit. This combos, of course, with explosive traps because he makes explosive traps detonate and throw the detonating arrows. Diminish resistances with this node, converting the traps and diminishing fire, cold, and lightning resist. He turned into cold. Then he came with the nodes that throw more traps, more traps, more traps, and the acid flasks. Okay. Some mana efficiency, the nodes for to change the tag from throwing to bow. Mana efficiency, because this costs a lot of mana. And the shroud per second. Okay. On shift, he's got melee damage along the path and kill threshold to kill enemies. Increased cooldown recovery speed, haste, but movement buff. This is practically haste. After use invulnerability, and he went for cleanse with some healing. So this is pretty much survival he chose here on shift, with this one to kill, which I don't think it kills that much. Smoke bomb is that survivability skill he chose. You can see that he's got Dust Shroud, a lot of area and duration with smoke bomb. So he throws the smoke bomb, stays inside to survive, and hit the enemies from afar. With Silver Shroud, with only 1 stack of Silver Shroud. On acid flasks, he went for armor shred, which is great. This armor shred, he's throwing acid flask on every shot, so it shreds a lot of armor. He went for the fire flask, dealing more damage, dealing high crit damage, because he's got a lot of crit multiplier. And this one, he came for poison penetration. I don't know what's this about. Oh, okay. So this node gives you fire penetration if it's not poison penetration. So that's why he took this to deal poison penetration per uncapped fire penetration. Per uncapped fire resistance, sorry. His fire resistance is on 143, so that's a decent penetration there. And that's it for his skills, guys. Passives, he got a lot of dex, obviously. Dodge rating, less damage and haste on hit. Then he's got some points on Falconer with health and dodge, and mana regen with dodge. A lot of dex. Yeah, that's just it. He wanted dex. And dex. On marksman, dex. Dex and dex and dex. Bow damage with increased crit chance, just one on crit vulnerability. Yeah, he doesn't need this. Like, he's got a lot of crit chance. And more crit multiplier, and some crit avoidance on him, which is great. Concentration, great node, increases his damage, his dodge rating, and everything else. So, and movement speed. So that's why he took this. Then we come here with Arrow Storm, increasing more his attack speed. And Silver Shroud, some Silver Shrouds game when he procs Arrow Storm, okay? So he's got 2 Silver Shrouds, one on Smoke Bomb and another here. Sniper's Gambit, giving a lot of bow damage and increased damage from nearby enemies. Don't be near enemies. That'll solve this problem. In here, some increased mana regen, and more damage per bow mana cost. So this increases a lot of damage on the marksman. Sharpshooter, increasing bow damage per stack with a lot of stack speed. This stacks really fast, really good. And Barrage of Pain, which increase crit chance per stack, then some more crit multipliers. And that's it for the passives. And that's pretty much it for the presentation of his build. So it's a really cool build. You guys can see him taking down aberroth. A shade farming on high corruption. I don't know if it's a build for everyone because it's quite squishy, but it is viable on 2K corruption. He's playing it, and I'm betting a lot of people will have a lot of fun with it. So damn this propaganda. So I hope you guys enjoy this build guide showcase. I'm gonna try to bring more. I think it's really cool when the community brings build to us and we can talk about them and comment them. There's always room for improvement in build, and discussing them is what improves our builds. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the link of the planner and of his videos down below. I hope you liked his build. I hope you comment this video and go check out his video and his channel. Snowyz, thank you so much for letting me do this showcase, this build guide showcase. And if anyone else has another cool build, I'll be taking builds from the community as well to show. I think that's really cool to share more builds that the community makes. Sometimes often players do builds better than YouTubers, and it's really cool to share them and to see more possibilities, to be open-minded about builds. And that's it, guys. I hope you like it. See you all later.